Well, hello everyone, and I'm here again to emphasize more into introduction. Well, in introduction, we have stated four types of questions, which is more related and more detailed, which is capable for us to produce a perfect and a good introduction for our study. Firstly, the question has stated as, do you know the importance of aquaculture organism? Well, guys, aquaculture organism is actually the main sector that produce protein sources for humans. Microorganisms are very important in two ways. One, for health. Second one, for economic. Health, if you guys have deficiency of protein sources in your body, you could actually be affected with various types of diseases. For example, like Kawasaki, which is it means that your body has lack of energy. Sarcopenia disease, where you have the disease of unable to process the amino acids. There are many more. While in economic side, if our nation had failed to produce enough of, had failed to involve themselves in exporting aqua-organism sources, well, we will lose a major income in terms of exporting. So, aqua-organisms are very important, and our country is rich in aqua-organism sources. The more we export, the more we gain. Well, second question will be, what is government expenditure? Based on Topper 2022, government expenditure is known as an act where government will purchase goods and services in terms of public consumption and for public consumption, public investment, and also for transport payment. It means that government will produce goods and also services for people like fisheries in both ways by giving them more transport payment, more contribution in order for them to increase their production and also to increase their lifestyle. Third question will be that why is government expenditure is important, guys? Well, actually, government transfer payment. We will speak more into transfer payment. Government transfer payment for fishermen is compulsory. It is very, very crucial, and it contributes, as it contributes the most income towards our nation's economic earnings. So, if you if government increase their transfer payment towards the fishery sector, so they will increase more production, which directly will increase the economic earning and our nation's income. As an evidence from Trend Economy 2021, they have stated the value of export for commodities such as fish, crustaceans, invertebrate aqua organisms, and also for mollusks, where in 2010, the exporting for those kind of commodity was just 152 millions of dollars, while in 2021, the similar commodities for exporting had boost two times more, where the nation, our country, had gained 680 millions of dollars for just exporting those commodities to other countries. It shows that aqua organism and transfer payment had contributed many sorts of benefit towards fishing lifestyle and also towards our nation's income. As an explanation from the Trend Economic 2021, we actually have understand that the contribution that been given by the government had been inciting our fishermen to increase their productivity and also motivated them to pursue their activities internationally and also nationally. It shows that government expenditure not only has boosted our nation's economy but also managed to boost employment, where if government increased the transfer payment, the more people would involve themselves into the sector. For example, if government increased the subsidies in petrol, so more people would willing to pursue in the sector, which indirectly or directly could increase employment among citizens, which enable to enhance the social economic standing as well. So this is why government expenditure is way too important. I would like to add on, uh, and uh, and that I would like to add on a survey by Felix Richter, who is an economic data journalist, had stated that per capita population will lead into rises of per capita consumption. Based on this study, he had found out that 2019 the per capita consumption had been ranked as the highest as the highest which people per capita which seafood consumption per person was 20.5 kilograms, while in 2020 it was just being ranked as 15.6. it was just being ranked as 19.6 kilogram per person. It shows that the more if it shows that the more people being produced or being the more people in this country, the more people who eat consume our organism. So that is the other reason. As I've said, it is important. Government expenditure is very important as it will lead to increase in income, nation income, it lead to increase in export earnings, and also boost employment, and the more better lifestyle to be gained towards fisheries movers. Alright. I would like to add on another information. As you can see at the left side, there is a statistic by the Department of Statistics Malaysia. Okay. As the statistic there, we could see that the performance of marine fish captures and also aquaculture rearing does impact the GDP. Those things reflect the production from comparison year 2017 to 2018, which they would reflect the production that been captured and been reared, affecting the GDP. As you can see, in terms of marine fisheries capture had increased their contribution towards GDP about 0.8% from 2017 to 2018. And they also had actually stated the reason why the GDP had increased. In 2017, our nation faced many types of hate-wasting issues um, such as piracy or trespassing foreign fisheries into our sea border. So our government had organized Sukarelawan Perikanan, which is supper in 2017, who will act as one of the government organization which been authority to stroll around the border to avoid invasion of foreign boats from our country. Not just that, there are also not just that. There is a news from Utusan Borneo online in 2017 that stated that government actually had allotted the fuel subsidy from 2017 to 2019, promised by government, and they actually did that. Government had gave petrol and diesel subsidy where people had feel really free and their expenses had reduced. As one of the respondents had stated that these fuel subsidies indeed had reduced their cost of living and their lifestyle had been so greater. As you can see, if the petrol subsidies being allotted, more people will involve in this sector and more people will produce more kind of production from aquaculture, maybe from aquaculture, or more people will sail into the sea in order to capture enough amount of fish to be sold internationally or nationally. It does impact our GDP in a positive way. So that would be for marine. And based on the news by Utusan Borneo Online, the respondent also actually had stated that the favor that being gifted or being contributed by the government had increased their cash income and also their living lifestyle. So it shows that government contribution, government expenditure indeed have helped their life and increased their lifestyle. So based on aquaculture, which is freshwater culture, also had contributed positively towards our nation's GDP, where you could see that it went from 102.5 tons to 105.7 tons from 2017 to 2018, shows an increase. So fisheries and aquaculture are indeed very crucial as it boosted our nation's GDP. Well, let's move on to the last question. What are the major group of species that demand the most in aquaculture and also in marine? Let's begin with marine. Our country, the major demand for marine water organisms, there are actually 10 types of products that fishermen prioritize to be captured from the sea, which is scuds, tuna, mackerel, shrimps, squids, natantia, cockers, threadfin shrimps, lizard fishes, and also Clupeidae. Our country, Malaysia, produces the most numbers of marine water products, and for domestic and also for international use. And the most demanding species was actually scuds, as the price comparatively is cheaper than tuna, mackerel, squids, and and also for lizard fishes. The price is comparatively reasonable, and also it contains high amounts of protein. So the demand for scuds usually the highest from 2017 2016 to 2019. It doesn't mean that tuna mackerel gained less amount of demand. No, their demand increases by year from 2015 to 2019. Yet, scut was the highest demand of those, while the least demanding was shrimp, because as the improvement in technology usage by the fishery sector, where they could rear the shrimps in pond using seawater, which they utilize many sorts of technology, had easen the life of fisheries in marine, where they don't have to capture the shrimps from the sea because they could rear shrimps using aquaculture technique. So this caused that the production of shrimp, it caused that they don't have to depend the production of shrimp in the sea. Well, they could actually rear more amount or numbers of shrimp they really wanted for the market usage using aquaculture rearing technology using seawater, because marine can't live in fresh water. So while for aquaculture, the major species that have been reared or major species that have been grown was seaweeds, shrimps, catfishes, tilapia, barramundi, and mollusk. The major group of fish aquatic organism that was highly produced all the year was the six types of organism that I have stated just now, while the highest will be seaweeds. Because based on Springer article, they have stated that Malaysia exports 60% of seaweeds towards China for the use of food, medical, and also cosmetic usage. So the highest demanding aquatic species will be seaweed, while the least will be mollusk, as the quantity of mollusk and people doesn't familiar with those kind of aqua organism like mollusk causes the demand for mollusk were quite the least. So that's all from me today. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Ramadan bin Azhar. My metric number is 279847. For the studies, we have identified three objectives that we want to obtain. The first one is to identify the types of government expenditure component that have been offered to the fishermen. For this objective, we have identified that there are five government expenditures component, which is the first one is food and diesel, the second one is living allowance, the third one is cash incentive, the fourth one is natural disaster assistance scheme, and the fifth one is infrastructure development. For the second objective, we want to identify how the government expenditure component impact the well-being lifestyle of fishermen. For this objective, we have identified that the fishing community receives a variety of money and aids like allowance, house improvement assistance, boats and nets. And the second fishermen's impacts is consistently assist the fishermen with financing and fishing equipment. The last objective of our studies is to identify the importance of how the government expenditure component impact the well-being lifestyle of fishermen. For this objective, we identified that this government expenditure has enabling the fishermen to undertake deep sea fishing and at the same time to that ensure that the fishermen can work in right and in good condition.
Hi, I'm Siti Nurasliza and my metric number is 280240. I'm going to present the part of literature review. So in this part consists of the overview from the past research that have quite similar topic with our topic. We had reviewed these two articles from Ghani and Iral MA, Adam F. Abdullah B. and Afghani Y in 2017, and also from Lee WC and Viswanathan KK in 2019. So, according to the first article, the authors aim to identify to what extent the fishermen are dependent on the government's fund and how it affects their quality of life. In this research, there are a few factors that show why the majority of the fishermen's quality of life remains moderately low, even though they were provided with a lot of funds and aid. First, the attitude of the fishermen themselves. Despite receiving several subsidies and opportunities to enhance their quality of life, the majority of the fishermen's opinion remained unaltered and did not take the initiative to improve their life. Second, Corruption and injustices in the allocation of monies and aid to fishing communities. It is found that huge sums of their income are earned by the tokes or skippers as well as non-fishermen, even though they are not eligible. These two major reasons make it tough for fishermen to thrive, and they rely heavily on government assistance and finances. The government's assistance and funds are particularly important because they enable fishermen to explore deep sea fishing, while some argue that such expenditures do not benefit the fishing community. For example, due to the government proposing the floating system, the fishermen barely go out to do their duty because the price of fuel is high and it can affect their income. Some of the respondents perceive such support and funding as an impediment to being competitive in fishing operations. This is because irresponsible fishermen use the funds given by the government on other unnecessary things and end up not going out to work. As a conclusion from this article, most of the people interviewed for this survey agree that government aid and finance can improve their quality of life. This shows that the fund can affect fishermen's life both positively and negatively. Next, the second article aims to investigate the effects of fisheries subsidies on small-scale fishers in Malaysia and propose strategies to enhance the subsidies program such that the twin goals of boosting fisher welfare and sustaining fisheries are met. This article has stated three impacts of subsidies on fisheries resources sustainability. First, it impacts on fisheries resources where overfishing, erosion, and pollution are threatening Malaysia's fisheries ecosystem. Second, the effect of overcapitalization. There is an excessive fishing efforts and overcapacity, particularly on Peninsular Malaysia's west coast. According to the limited research studies conducted by the Department of Fisheries, resources are severely strained and are being exploited beyond their maximum sustainable yield. Lastly, the effect of lending subsidies. The overcapitalization impact may also be established by examining data on marine fish landings by various types of fishing vessels. Fishermen get landing bonus based on the size of their catch. The findings from Ali et al. In 2017 study have been confirmed by findings from focus group discussion with participants from various categories of fishermen to elicit their impressions of the effects of subsidies on their livelihoods and fisheries. According to the findings, the most desired subsidy for all sorts of fishing is fuel subsidies. The data on landings and vessel numbers show that fishing effort is expanding. Fishing subsidies, particularly landings incentive, fuel subsidies, and income assistance, appear to promote greater effort to be incorporated into the fishery.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chua Kai, matrix number 279143. Today I'm going to talk about the impact of government expenditure by total and its components on fishermen well-being. The government has assisted the fishing community in overcoming its obstacles both physically and mentally. The fishing community receives a variety of money and aids, including monthly living or subsistence allowance, house improvement assistance, fuel subsidies, BRIM, and fishing gear like boats and nets, among other things. Some people claim that prior to the introduction and implementation of the government's float system, which is subsidized fuel, the majority of fishermen were appreciative to be able to the sea, because the cost of fuel was low. But following the implementation of the floating system, they hardly ever go out fishing because it affects their source of income. Despite that the fact the government has supplied them with such aid and cash, some respondents believe that they constitute a barrier to them continuing to be competitive in the fishing industry. The majority of fishermen don't truly grasp how to use the tools that are provided to them. For instance, they should prioritize buying fuel for their boat when the government provides them with 300 ringgit monthly living allowance rather than splurging on other unnecessary items. Additionally, fishermen's reliance on government subsidies and aid has made them sluggish and prevented them from going out to fish. This is because the government only provides temporary aid or funding. This mentality should be avoided. That's all from me now. I will pass the floor to the next presenter. Thanks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Isabi Ahmad Alias Bukhari. My metric number is 281376. I would like to continue our presentation of type of subsidies that have been given from the government to the fishermen. So the type of subsidies that have been given from the government to the fishermen are 5 in total, which is fuel and diesel, living allowance, cash incentive, other support such as natural disaster assistance scheme, also infrastructure and development. So the table have shown the comparison between the subsidy that have been given in 2017 and also the compared to 2016. The amount are in million ringgit Malaysia, and also the percentage that hold the subsidy that have been given from the government. So fuel and diesel in 2016 are 70.58 million ringgit. This hold the percentage of 21.63%. This, however, increased in 2017 to 314.08 million ringgit, that hold a percentage of 1959.93%. This increase are because the government want to control the price of the fish. So in order to control the price of the fish, they have to reduce the cost for the fishermen to cut the fish. So the fuel and diesel are crucial to them because they use the fuel, the petrol and diesel, in order to start their boat to go caught the fish. So that's for the fuel and diesel. So living allowance are given to the fishermen because fishermen are included in the seasonal unemployment. For example, in November, December, and also January, these are the monsoon season, the rainy season. So the fishermen cannot go to the sea because of the heavy wave, the strong wave that can harm them. So in this season, the fishermen are unemployed at the moment. So the living allowance that have been given to the fishermen in 2016 are 174.24 million ringgit, which hold the 53.39%. This, however, has decreased in 2017 to 166.07 million ringgit, which hold the percentage of 31.69%. The cash incentive are to in order to encourage the fishermen. So in 2016, they have been given 70.70 million ringgit, which hold a percentage of 21.66%. And this increase also decreased in the 2017, which to 35.453, which hold a percentage of 9.78%. The other support, such as natural disaster assistance scheme, are 1.89 million ringgit, which hold a percentage of 0.60 in 2016. And 2017, this increased to 2.01 million ringgit, which hold a percentage of 0.37%. These um, subsidies are given to the state like Terengganu, which have a lot of fishermen. So in the monsoon area, usually this state have have been having the flood. So the support are needed very much in that state. So these are the subsidy that have been given to them. Infrastructure development are to make it easier for the fishermen to access the market. So in 2016, the subsidies that have been given to the fishermen are 8.96 million ringgit, which hold a percentage of 2.72%. This, however, decreased in 2017 to 6.43 million ringgit and hold the percentage of 1.23%. So in 2017, we can see that the government have focused the subsidy to the fuel and diesel, and in the 2016, the government have focused the subsidy to living allowance. This will change depend to the um, current situation in the nation. So this is all from me. Thank you.
For the last part of my presentation, we have summarized. There are three recommendations that we want to develop for the marine and aquaculture sector in Malaysia. The first one is the government should develop a new model specifically for the fishermen in village. This model will act as a medium for the fishermen who live in depths and not easy for the people to come for them. This model can provide assistance like houses improvement, workplace improvement, and so on. This kind of model should distributed to the right and eligible fishermen. The eligible fishermen are based on their still active or not, and them who are below poverty line. The second recommendation is the government should examine all the incentives and models that have been given and implemented. This is to make sure that all the government expenditure are truly beneficial to all the fishermen in Malaysia. This also can allow all the fishermen are getting the same advantage without based on their races, areas, and so on. The government also can redesign the incentive and models, for example, creating a model that aims to attract the youth to participate in this sector. Last but not least, the recommendation is all the parties should support the government effort in implementing the best incentives and models for all the fishermen that are eligible in Malaysia. This the support like the awareness about the marine and aquaculture sectors, the better education and knowledge about the sector should be given by all the parties without looking at their political parties, community races, and so on. This will allow the people to know uh, that this sector can be important as other sector in Malaysia if this sector being developed in the right method. Thank you.